Clark County has confirmed that the apartments where 2 people died in a July 28th fire did not have sprinklers and were not required to. Property records show the apartments were built in 1978, so they would not be required to have sprinklers. 4 people were also injured when flames swept several units at the complex on Spencer Street near Flamingo. Fire crews say 19 people were also displaced.